Welcome to Best Practices and Experiences for Transnational Learning, Integration and Language Learning. This is not just a podcast. It is an exploration of innovative ways to empower migrant children and their families. The AMIF Fund supports the initiative as part of the SCHOOLinHUB project aimed at creating a more welcoming society, proud to protect children's rights, and a more inclusive school as a cultural hub able to lead preschool children with a migrant background in learning a new language. Join us on this exciting journey to discover good practices that create connections between different countries.
Hello and welcome back to our podcast, Best Practices and Experiences for Transnational Learning, part of the EU project SCHOOLinHUB. I'm Esther Marie Merz, Head of Communication at the Berlin Cosmopolitan School, and I'll be your host as we continue to explore innovative approaches to education and integration. In the next hour, we are diving into a fascinating and essential topic: language learning in transdisciplinary settings. Language is more than just a tool for communication. It's a key to integration, personal growth, and social belonging. The way we teach languages, especially in early childhood, can shape a child's confidence, their ability to connect with others, and their overall learning journey. In this episode today, we'll explore creative methods of language acquisition that go beyond traditional classroom lessons. Our guests will share insights on how language learning can be seamlessly integrated into daily activities, celebrations, and even conflict resolution, turning everyday moments into meaningful, lasting learning experiences for children. So let's get started. To kick off today's episode on language learning, we're excited to welcome Katharina Ehrenfried. Katharina is the head of Nature Campus at Berlin Cosmopolitan School and a leading expert in early childhood education. With over 2 decades of experience in pedagogical innovation and organizational development, she's passionate about creating learning environments that are inclusive, dynamic, and deeply connected to real-life experiences. Today, Katharina will shed light on transdisciplinary learning, what it really means, and why it's so powerful, especially in early childhood. She'll share practical examples from the kindergarten, like how teaching body parts isn't just about vocabulary, but essential for communication in everyday situations, whether it's expressing pain, asking for the toilet, or talking about food. She'll also explore how language naturally develops through meaningful moments like birthday celebrations and even conflict resolution. It's going to be an insightful conversation. Welcome, Katharina.
Thank you for having me.
So, to start, can you explain what transdisciplinary learning looks like in both theory and practice?
Sure. So, transdisciplinary inquiry-based learning is, for me, the best learning and teaching style for the early years. It means that I have to provoke questions. As a teacher, I have to provoke questions from the students. Through thoughtful provocations, the students ask me the question and I am the facilitator of learning. So the questions can be provoked through behavior, which is often happening in the early years, or also then through language and questions or academic questions more, or questions for the understanding of the world. And one example, when I start teaching in kindergarten or school, primary school, and children come and do not speak the language of instruction, what is really essential for them is the sentence, I need to go to the toilet, I am hungry, I am hurting. And then it comes after they have mastered those, after they have acquired those different vocabulary or sentence starters. Then we go into what is really important is for me as a teacher to know if a child is hurt, where is it hurt? So then there come the body parts. So this is when we then talk about body parts, and then already I have a connection with the child, because the child can talk with me about their basic needs. It's also very important to, when am I picked up? Where do we go next? So in our school, we work with visuals. So we have for everything, we have visuals that supports the children's understanding and language learning in the beginning.
Are you also using music as a practical thing, like singing, to teach this?
Of course, music is, you have mini transitions throughout the days. And it's not only for the teacher really boring and repetitive to always say, now we all stand in a line. It's, if you started with a song, then the children who do not understand what I am communicating will know from the melody what is the next task. The others already know, and it's nicer to sing an instruction than to bark it out all the time, shout it, or tell them all the time what they have to do next. A song is so much more appropriate for this age group.
Anything else you want to add before we go to the next question?
The thing is, what is a provocation in early years? I spoke about the first provocation. This is really the first week. But then later on, the provocation we have most in the early years is behavior. And the behavior is conflict resolution. Students of this age, 4 to 8, they learn how to solve a conflict not physically, with words, non-violent communication. And this offers me so much. So they ask me, through their behavior, to speak with them and to help them solve this conflict. And this is then, this is active language teaching in this moment. Because it is my time. There is a behavior, there is a situation. This behavior, this situation is communication, and they are wanting me and my values to come to them and help them learn something. And then it's also a one-on-one situation. If it's a conflict, it's often a one-on-one, one-on-two situation. This is a very intimate situation for language learning, so you can kneel down, be on the child's eye level, and speak with them. Because also in early years, you have no chance then to solve the situation at this moment in time. Otherwise, someone will get hurt. So this is the best, one of the best ways of teaching language, I think.
Is there anything that you actually learned from the reaction of a child when it comes to conflict resolution, where you said, and that you are implementing now also in this whole, how do I deal with it? Because sometimes, I mean, I myself, I'm a mother, and many times I think I have the solution, but sometimes listening to my son, I'm at the end the student and he's the teacher. Is there anything that you can share, like where the kid actually, showed us the way how to solve things?
Yeah, so we have problem-solving corners. This is like a corner dedicated in each room where you can sit down, where you can relax. But if you have a problem, you would ask your friend to go there, and then you sit down and speak with each other. Or you can also ask a teacher if you have a problem with a teacher. I don't want to wash my hands now. So then you go there and you discuss it. Or some children are sad. One time a child was sitting there for a whole day, and I said, "Why are you sitting there for so long?" And he said, I'm so sad because we will be moving back and my parents will start a new job, and now I'm sitting here and relax a bit to calm down. So this is our problem-solving corner. And then I was asking some children who showed a lot of behavior outside during playtime and during late care. And I said, so what would help you to solve your problems outside better? or to not have those problems. And they said, listen, Katharina, we don't have a problem-solving corner outside. We don't have this calm-down space. And from this point on, we have a dedicated calm-down space for the children where children can sit and calm down. But it's a constant change. It's also, you have new children, always new children. Every year we have new children, so we have to adapt all the time, listen to the children, speak with them, observe behavior, and then change our environments.
Well, I think that adaptation is crucial here now. I mean, another crucial aspect of early childhood education is social interaction. You mentioned it already. How do you address conflict resolution and friendships through language learning?
So one thing is, if a child is in an actual crisis, their brain is not ready to learn. It's not ready to learn language, and they are in a state of flight, freeze, or fight, and this is not the best brain situation of learning. So we need to bring the child in this situation, in this brain situation where where the brain is relaxed and they can learn language. Without this state, the child cannot learn language. So that means it's called, in German we say it's called a seesaw. Either you're in a state where you need connection, or you're in a state where you can learn. So first, we have to make them feel very safe in the room. So what we then do is a lot of common breathing activities, mindfulness activities, singing songs, calming the bodies and the brains down, which then helps in an actual conflict situation where the child might only be able to activate the home language or first language. We can do something like a balloon breathing or a 5-finger breathing, which then helps the brain to come to a state where, again, they can learn from my language of instruction.
Katharina, birthdays are something that are very precious to every single one of us. So how do birthday celebrations, what role do they play when it comes to developing this language learning?
So for us, it's this transdisciplinary inquiry-based learning stems in our kindergarten from the birthday of the child. The children always have a countdown to their birthdays. I mean, there's how important is you're turning 4, you're turning 5, you're turning 6, you're turning 7. That's incredibly important. And they ask how many days, and they count back. So we can teach numeric scope and sequences. We can teach the month of the year. We can teach weekdays. It's then we have the Montessori birthday circle we're celebrating with them. But also we can then start with seasons, because they want to know in which season their birthday is. And then we can explain about where we are in the world. So we can say in Germany we have 4 different seasons, and that means, and then they ask, what is the next season? We can sing songs about it. And it's then the big celebration of life, and it's a big celebration of this child. And this is why we have this emphasis on a birthday celebration, on also making this child feel special, not only on this day, on every day, but also having their own place in the classroom and having this special time reflected. And it's a time where we celebrate that this child came into the world.
I have to admit that I learned quite a lot in these few minutes with you. Thank you very much for such valuable insights, Katharina.
Thank you so much, Esther Marie. Thank you for having me.
Also joining us today is Christina Plummer, a passionate early years educator with over 15 years of experience in Germany and the United States. Since February 2024, she has been part of the leadership team of the kindergarten of the Berlin Cosmopolitan School. And she's known for her creativity, strong communication skills, and leadership in fostering nurturing learning environments. Christina holds a state certification as an educator from Germany, along with additional qualifications like Family Lab training and Erasmus Plus certifications. She's also contributed to Erasmus Plus research projects focused on language learning and a strong advocate for experiential and nature-based education. Today, Christina will share her insights on the importance of emphasizing effort over results, helping children build resilience, confidence, and a lifelong love of learning. Welcome to the podcast, Christina.
Thank you.
So let's get started. One of the key principles in education today is fostering a growth mindset. Why is it important to praise effort rather than outcomes?
In this fast-moving world, especially nowadays in the cities, where you have a lot of innovative programs also in kindergartens, it's very important to teach the children from a young age to have a growth mindset, and that we are all lifelong learners, that learning never stops. So what we want for the children is that they build resilience, and we would like to encourage their love for learning in this young age. Children want to learn, they're very keen. So if you praise the effort instead the outcome, you foster this growth mindset and various backgrounds. And we are a bilingual kindergarten. We use German and English, but we also have children that come from countries where they don't speak German and English. So, for example, we had a girl and she would not speak English nor German. The parents spoke some English, some German, but not much. And this girl needed to be integrated in our group at kindergarten. She was 5 years old and very shy at the beginning. So what was important for us as teachers is to make her feel welcome, especially in her first days. And she seemed fairly scared to come in. So she did try and say some words that she knew from her parent. So we really tried to praise her efforts that she was doing. And instead of when she said, "I don't speak German, I cannot speak German," we would then tell her, "But you are learning, so we will help you. We will do it together." A lot of other children can speak some German, some more than the others, but we will be here. We will help you. And what you're doing already is you're trying, you're listening, and this is something that is important for her to hear, rather than "I don't speak German." We say, "I don't speak German yet. I'm on the way of learning how to speak German." And this is something that was very important for her at the beginning to hear. And we would not only say that on the first day, but all throughout the day, all throughout the program.
So, Christina, from what I understood, what you were just saying is that active listening is something that is very important being a teacher when it comes to language learning. Can you share some examples of how educators can use this technique effectively?
Yes. If we stay with the same example, that girl in our group, at some point she started repeating words that she heard from other children. And for example, when we would go on an excursion and she would point to something and say, "Baum, there's a tree," I would repeat that word, but in a full sentence. So if she would say tree, I would say, "Do you see a tree? What tree do you think that is?" So I would try to stay on this topic, but use full sentences and the correct grammar to role model the correct usage of the language. So she, at some point, would not only repeat the words, she would repeat the sentence after me. And this way we would learn together in a sense. So after a while, she would use 2 or 3 word sentences, and then I would continue with the topic. If we would still stay on the tree topic, I would say, have you seen anything else here besides the tree? Have you seen the lake? Have you seen the birds inside the tree? So you would try to use more and more vocabulary for her to repeat.
Yeah, that makes totally sense, what you just explained to us. Let me ask you this. What about corrective feedback? What can you tell me about that?
When the children start speaking in simple sentences, most of the time the grammar is not there yet, and the sentences are fairly short, like I walk in forest or I see tree. They use keywords that they put together. So what we try to do is we repeat what we heard from the child, but with the correct grammar in a full sentence. Sometimes give them a variety of sentence that they can use with the correct wording. So if the child tells me, I see tree, I will repeat. I will say, do you still see the same tree? Or I can see that tree as well. So I will always answer in the correct way, instead of correct the child. So I wouldn't say, no, this is wrong, you need to say it like this. We just repeat and give them the chance to hear the sentence, how they are supposed to say it. And then maybe they will, or at some point they will repeat in the correct way.
Yeah, totally. I think everybody who learned a foreign language can identify with this. How can teachers ensure they are supporting language development without discouraging the young learners?
I think a lot of it should come in a natural way for teachers. If you greet the children with a friendly face in the morning, and if you make them feel welcome, then that's the first thing that you can do. Body language is always important, that you don't just speak, especially when you know that the children don't understand you, that you use your whole body, that you turn your body towards the children. And a lot of children also appreciate if you give them a little bit time to adjust to a situation. So if you repeat something, or if you talk to them in the morning, make sure that they have time to comprehend what you say.
Thank you, Christina, for sharing these very helpful strategies. I can imagine that some parents who are listening to this podcast are also going to apply one or the other one of these. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for being part of this podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Today we are excited to welcome someone with a remarkable 14-year journey in international kindergarten education. With a diverse background that includes a degree in history from Poland, teacher recognition in England, and specialized training with Family Lab, she brings a rich blend of academic knowledge and practical experience to early childhood education. Monika Dengusiak has worked with a wide range of learners, from nonverbal and highly gifted children to those on the autism spectrum and children with learning disabilities. Always committed to creating inclusive, supportive environments where every child can thrive. Passionate about both science and cultural understanding, she uses hand-on activities to spark curiosity, stimulate cognitive development, and foster critical thinking. In recent years, Monika Dengusiak has focused on expanding their understanding of diverse cultural backgrounds through research, professional development, and innovative strategies to enhance children's engagement in science learning. At the heart of her work is a belief in strong family partnerships and the celebration of each child's unique strength. Welcome to this podcast, Monika.
Thank you very much for a nice introduction.
Hands-on learning is such an effective way for children to acquire language skills. So can you explain us, please, how experiments help children actually to learn a language?
I try to do my best. As you know, it's really hard for some of the children, especially coming from the different backgrounds, using different languages and understanding different languages, and coming and learn another language. So from my perspective and from my experience, it's always nice to have a soft approach. And as you know, children, they really interact with you when you ask them to do something together, which is you can go from the whole process of being together, doing together, and then talking together. So then it's like a deeper understanding of body language and at some point of the verbal language. So I feel like that's fostered the way how they feel and they see you. They feel more safe with you if you show them the way how to be with you. And then you've got a better understanding of their needs and then of the parents and family needs as well. So you can see that the whole process of being with those kids, non-verbal kids in a sense of not understanding, not having a full understanding of the language, they more open to deal with you. They are more open to listen to you and interact with you. So you foster that kind of a respectful way of being with the kids and the family. So I feel like when we are talking about the science activities on a kindergarten level, it's more like real world activities. So we talk a lot about how to make a Play-Doh and how to make a pancakes, for example, because everyone likes a bit of activities when we can actually do something together in a sense, and now outside you can actually try. So use all of those senses in a way. And I feel that's the most valuable and most important thing with activities, hands-on activities in a sense. So we use the big words science for actually the simple activities. So the kid could actually feel that I can participate. I can go through the whole process and be valuable participant of that learning experience. And then at the end of the hands-on activities, there's always reward, being together with your friends and your teachers.
I mean, that sounds really interesting, and like it makes totally sense that there's going to be a positive outcome if this is the way how you approach it. Are there any further specific activities you would like to share with us that you use in your classroom?
Lately, I know that some of the kids are really interested in planets, for example. So then we can actually talk about the planet Earth. Then when you take that project in deeper down, so which is like nature, then we talk about the forest, we talk about the different animals, we make them into the groups, we divide them into the groups, how many legs, how many tails, how many ears. So it's like simple questions, but all of those kids, they know the answer already. So you foster that kind of a feeling, oh, I belong, I can give the answer, so I know. So I'm worthy for all of my team and for all of my friends to be part of it, something bigger. And then when you talk about nature, then it's water, for example. So what sinks, what floats. So when you ask certain questions, like to the kids, choose one of the objects. What do you think? How hard, how heavy is that object? What do you think we're going to go down, which is sink or maybe float? So when you boost and ask those simple questions and then participate in that kind of a hands-on activities, then you see how happy they are, and they even take that activity even deeper. So they try to experiment by themselves. They talk to each other, even using body language, for example. How about the different objects? How about this? How about that? So you see that you foster that team building in a sense. So every single child looks and feels involved in a way. So that's my recent activities.
Those are fantastic examples. I mean, it's really fascinating. Anything else you would like to share with our listeners?
I feel like with that field of hands-on activities, science and simple experiments, it's always easy for every single child to bring the experience back home, and then get the parents be more interested in and more informed in a way, but from the child's perspective in a sense. And if the parents wants to know a bit more about it, then it's always a nice kind of an interaction with the teacher. So which is, oh, I've heard that you did this and that. So you become a part of something bigger, just only kindergarten. So you're just part of the family life too, which I feel like that's very valuable for the kids. and for the teachers and for all of us, I would say.
Monica, how do you engage with an inclusive group of children in the kindergarten?
So it's really up to how big is the group. First of all, I'm observing the needs, and then most of the time I'm using the flashcards because nonverbal kids is always good with the visuals. So if I want to introduce one of the activities, I really would like them to participate, so to have the whole group, and each child needs to be involved with that kind of experiment or activity. I always prepare step by step with visuals. So I gather all of the group, all of the kids, and we are talking about what the expectations are. Sometimes the nonverbal kids, like on the spectrum kids, they need a bit of they require a bit a different approach, which is I always hold their hands or even sit next to them so they could actually feel my body. So we've got that kind of a connection. Sometimes it's not that easy. So then I talk to the other kids. They need to understand that sometimes we need to interrupt or give a bit more time for all of us to participate. If you give the other kids a bit of an inside look and expectations, everyone adapts, and no one is pointing out and no one is left behind in that sense. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm saying it's a bit different, that's all. But at the end of the day, all of them, they have exactly the same experience, and sometimes it's good for everyone to feel we are in the same team.
Thank you very much, Monica, for sharing these very valuable insights of your daily work.
You're welcome.
As we wrap up today's episode, let's quickly summarize some key takeaways. Language learning is most effective when integrated into meaningful daily activities. Praising effort over outcomes builds resilience and fosters a love for learning. Hands-on experiments create engaging environments for language acquisition. Before we go, I'd love to hear from each of our guests. What is one piece of advice you'd give educators working with children from abroad learning a new language?
Go and jump into the cold water. Go somewhere where you don't speak the language. Go somewhere where you feel uncomfortable and you don't know if you're welcome. And then emphasize and think this is maybe how this child feels in this situation, and think what is the best pedagogical intervention you can develop from your own experience. What would help you?
I think it's very important to be open-minded and acknowledge that everybody is a lifelong learner who needs some time to get used to another language. So as a teacher, it's always important to narrate, to foster the love of language.
I feel the most important thing is you need to accept yourself. You need to be confident and use your own hobbies, interests, and activities, and be open for the kids. Because sometimes I've noticed that some of the educators, it's very hard for to open their minds in a way, and they judge through their own experience, which is, oh, okay, we should sit that way, we should do this way. And I feel like if you were gonna give them some time, the children were gonna show you the way, the best way. So be open-minded and accept the kid whatever and however looks or needs. That would be the piece of advice I would gladly give.
And finally, for schools and educators who may not have extensive resources, how can they replicate these practices on a limited budget?
I think every school has books and picture books, and there's reading and reading out aloud is so valuable for language learning. So never stop reading, make up your own stories, have fun, laugh together, and enjoy quality time.
For language learning, you don't need a budget and you don't need a lot of resources. You can just use your body language, you can sing, you can talk, and you can do that all day. So you don't need a big budget for that.
I think that piece of paper and the crayon, every school and kindergarten has, and that's all what it takes to build up the relationship and build up on an activity, hands-on activity. When you ask the children, they will always be happy to help you and find some different objects and prepare the activities with you. And first of all, as long as you're open-minded, you always find the resources, regardless of the budget.
This has been such an insightful conversation. A huge thank you to our guests for sharing their expertise and to our listeners for tuning in once again. If you found today's episode helpful, share it with fellow educators. And until next time, keep fostering inclusive and engaging learning environments. Goodbye.
Thank you for sharing your precious time with us. Keep in touch and follow the updates on the website www.schoolinhubproject.eu. Stay tuned and help us with your suggestions to build a more inclusive society.